Hello, everyone. Long time no speak. I know it's been a while. I have honestly been thinking about just taking a long break from the podcast with school. It's just a lot. But then I'm like, no, whenever I can find the time to give time to the podcast, I would like to. And so that's what I'm doing today. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited because we are talking about one of my favorite things just ever, and that being astrology. Now listen, I am an astrology slut. Okay. Not really. Well, let me think about that. I wouldn't say, no, I'm not an astrology slut. Okay. My knowledge of astrology is very surface level. I don't understand the houses, the planets, the degrees, any of that. However, I do find it to be just a very interesting topic. And when I do come across the topic of astrology, I'm just all ears all the time because I just think it's so captivating and I love hearing about it and learning more about it. Anyways, today's episode will be about my experiences, my opinions, and my perceptions on all 12 zodiac signs as a Leo. Okay, so this is coming from a Leo's perspective, okay? I was really apprehensive about doing this episode because I don't want anyone to take this information personally. And while astrology can be very deep, this is a lighter episode for me. As I mentioned, my knowledge of astrology is very surface level and I just want to have fun with this, especially with the way these past few months have been. This is like the best thing to do for me to not start spiraling and for you guys to not see that I'm mentally spiraling a little bit. Okay. So I just want to keep things light. And I just feel like if someone says Leos are liars, I hate Leos, that's their opinion. And that is completely outside of my control. And I can't change the fact that I'm a Leo. So, I can't do much with that information. What I'm sharing today is solely based on my opinions, experiences, observations, and personal connections that I have had with each sign. Okay? So I just wanted to disclose that. And now listen, another thing I want to say is my outlook on each zodiac can very well drastically shift with time and with new encounters and with more evolved knowledge of astrology. It'll be really, really interesting, though, to listen back to this episode in the next couple of months or years even to see if my stance has changed at all. So we shall see. But all right, let's jump into this because I'm so excited. Now, I debated on if I should go through the calendar year of zodiacs or if I should go by element, such as fire, water, earth, air. But to make this enjoyable for me, I have this little cup here with all 12 zodiac signs. Do you guys hear it? And I wrote them down on these little strips of paper, and whichever I pull from the jar is the zodiac I will speak on. So let's get to it. Little ASMR moment. All right, let's pull. Oh my gosh, why am I so nervous myself? Hang on. Okay, these are blank strips. I'm so scared. All right. So the first one that I pulled is Virgo. Virgo, an earth sign. Okay. Geez. Where do I even start? Virgos are really interesting to me. Truly. I really do feel like Virgos are just interesting. Everything Virgos are known for is what they are in my mind. Perfectionist, organized, patient, hardworking, stubborn, easily irritated, but they don't really show their irritation that much. Virgos are nice. Virgos are kind. They are very reserved as well. They don't share a lot of their personal life or personal business at all. I've always known Virgos to be very spiritual individuals. And as an earth sign, literally every Virgo I know is in tune with nature. They love being outside. They are just very well connected in that sense. Virgos are very structured. I would argue, honestly, that Virgos have a better work ethic than Capricorns. And Capricorns are the workaholic of the zodiac, but Virgos just have this different care with their work. I would also say that they are really good with money management and saving. They are very just structured with everything that they do. They are so particular of things. And the way I view Virgos is Virgos are the type of people to where you just like can't wear shoes in their house. And they're the type of people who will have certain journals and certain pens for everything that they do. These are the type of people who will take Cheerios and Oreos and Fruit Loops, whatever their favorite snacks are, take them out of the box, place them into those clear containers and like stack that up in like their pantry. That's the energy they give. Okay. That's the energy they give. Also, Leos can be very determined and hardworking individuals like Virgos, right? But for some odd reason, I feel like the timing never aligns for that. So for example, this is the best way I can put it. When I'm on my A game and I'm staying on top of things, let's say for a work project, right? That's when they choose to slack off or they're in a not caring too much kind of mood. And when they're on their A game and staying on top of things, it's a time when I have pulled back on my care about, let's say, the work project, right? That's where we bump heads the most, I feel like, from my encounters with them. Okay. I don't know what it is, but I really feel like Virgos aren't my people. And it's not in such a sense of where we argue and we bicker or anything like that. We just don't align. We just don't align. I just can't. It's something off. It's like an imbalance. And I can't necessarily like find the correct words to articulate it, but it's just something that's always off with me and Virgos. So yeah, I mean, they're great people. They have a lot of depth to them, but it's just like, we just can't get it right. We just can't get it right. All right, next sign. I'm loving the cup idea. All right. Libra. I love Libras. Oh my gosh, I love Libras. Do you hear me? When I think of top tier, I think of Libras. When I think of elegance, I think of Libras. When I think of God's favorite, of course I think of Leos, but I also think of Libras. Each Libra I know is super blessed in just life. They are just so blessed. They have a beautiful upbringing, beautiful opportunities presented to them. Just wonderful. It seems like their lives are impeccable, at least from the outside, looking in. Of course, no one's life is perfect, but I mean, well, someone's life maybe, it depends. It's how you view it. It's how you view it. But I love Libras. They are awesome, especially Libra women. They are phenomenal. So before I even knew Libras were known for being such well-balanced individuals, I would always say that each Libra I know is extremely well-balanced. And even if they're not on the inside, they show up very well-balanced on the outside. And just like their sister sign, Aries, they too can be a bit picky, right? They're also known for their indecisiveness. But I honestly just think that Libras have really high standards, and Libras just don't take no shit. They just don't settle. I love that about them. Libras are also very flirtatious. Okay. So be careful, because that flirtatiousness mixed with that indecisiveness, don't be surprised if they lead you on. Okay. Don't be surprised. One minute they may be interested in a relationship. Next minute they might just want to have fun. You never really know. Just be cautious. In addition to that, Libras are also very flaky. Okay, that's just the downside to them. They flake a lot on plans. They take days to text back. It's just what they do. As a Libra rising, I do the same. I do the same. So I can only be mad but so much. I'm telling on myself here, but I do flake on plans a lot. And it's something that I'm working on. I really, really am. I know that's not beneficial to the person that's involved, but Yeah, I'm working on it. I promise. In some situations, I do prefer to plan, but I mostly enjoy just being impulsive and doing things based off my energy at that moment. Oftentimes, when I do plan things, I just talk myself out of it and my optimism just kind of fuses out. And I wonder if that's the same way for Libra suns. I don't really know how they operate or why they flake. I think it's just a air thing. It's just the flaky air. But yeah, it's a thing, and I do it myself. So now professionally though, Libras are not the best leaders or workers really. And I'm just sitting here thinking about the Libras that I've worked with, and I'm just like, no, no, no. No, no, no. I just find them to be very scattered individuals in the workplace. It's like it's really hard for them to find focus. It's hard for them to find order in just anything that they do. And it's almost like they need to be micromanaged almost. And honestly, I would say personally, I would say personally as well. So if you have a Libra friend who's like, I can't focus on this presentation I have to do for school or this PowerPoint, or I need help like getting a schedule in order or something like that, don't be surprised if they lean on you for those type of things, because it's almost like if they try to sit at home and do it themselves, they're not going to find that focus or that order. It's like you have to be like, friend, I need you to get back in them books. I need you to get back in. I need you to focus. Like they have to have someone over their shoulder almost. So that's just what I've noticed. Also, Libras are not the best with time management at all. At all. Constantly late. Okay. One thing I do love about Libras, just to wrap up Libras, because I love them. I really do love Libras. That they're just so good. So good. Okay. Like generally speaking, and just like when I overall think of Libras, I love them. Libras treat everyone fairly. They are oftentimes peacemakers. I was once in a friend group with a Libra, and anytime I went through a disagreement with the other sign, the Libra never took sides, and she just treated us the same. And that was just beautiful. Loved it. I really love Libras. They are such well-rounded, well-balanced people. And like I said, we all have our flaws. No one's life is perfect, but they just show up very well to the world, I feel like. All right, next. Okay, next is Cancer. Oh gosh, Cancer. So Cancers are ruled by the moon, and they are known for being very emotional, very moody. But what I cherish the most about Cancers is just how loving they are. I love how much they love, because same here. My Venus is in Cancer. Let me tell you guys what that even means, because y'all are probably like, Venus who? Let's see. I have the CoStar app. If you don't know what the CoStar app is, okay, let me actually explain that first. Okay. So just by doing a random Google search, the CoStar app is a social astrology app that uses NASA data and traditional astrology methods to provide personalized horoscopes and birth charts. Love that. Love that. I didn't even know they used NASA data until now. But what Venus means, the planet Venus in my chart, Venus in Cancer. Venus determines how and what you love, and it also indicates how you express affection and the qualities you're attracted to. I feel like that's why Cancers and I connect in the arena of love, because we are both very loyal, very passionate, very just loving people. And I just really, really love that. I get along very well with Cancer women and Cancer men. But the thing is, though, that I've learned, don't piss a Cancer off, okay? Because they get rude, they get disrespectful, they become spiteful. And also, my Mars is in Cancer. Okay, so let's read that. I have to tell you guys what Mars even means, what that planet does. So it says, because I thought about it, because I remember looking at the app and they said something about aggression. And so since we're talking about the downside of Cancers, this is what I wanted to say. So my Mars is in Cancer. Mars is the planet of aggression. Okay. It determines how you assert yourself, take action, and the energy that surrounds you, particularly in your sex life, your ambitiousness, and when you're angry. Okay. So this is very interesting. Should I continue reading? Okay. It says your Mars is in Cancer, meaning you assert yourself in a way that is emotional and somewhat passive aggressive, and you push things forward only when you feel safe and secure. So that was pretty interesting to read. I feel like we have similarities when it comes to the anger and the downsides of Cancer that also makes us connect in a way, if that makes sense. I'm definitely going to have to redo this episode with a professional astrologer online because I need someone to really break it down, Okay. Like I said, I generally like Cancers. I don't not like them, but I do know that when they're mad, they're mad. Also, I do like Cancers in bed. Yeah, probably my faves. Don't tell nobody I said that. All right, next sign. Oh my God, Pisces. Okay, I'm not even really too sure what Pisces are known for. I would look it up. I don't really feel like it. Should I? Okay, all right, I'll look it up. Okay, pretty similar to many other signs. They are known for creativity, compassion, empathy, intuition, having a big heart, being generous, imaginative. Oh, yeah, for sure. Imaginative and, escapist, daydreaming, having a hard time focusing on a single task. Okay, this is really good. You can often find them drifting off into la la land every now and then. Whoa, okay, hold on. This changes everything. Spirituality, moody, they're known for these things. Okay, this is everything I need to know. This makes sense. I wouldn't say I'm very imaginative and always like daydreaming and things like that, but my South Node is in Pisces. And I remember that from this astrology reading I received, I believe, last year. And the person who did it mentioned how this is why I struggle with routine. This is why I just, I'm just so flowy. I'm kind of like with whatever I want to do in the moment. I just can't stick to routine. I can't stick to schedule. That is something. Now, my personal interactions when it comes to Pisces, it can go one of these ways. I would see them, meet them, and they come off kind, but the kindness that they exhibit is fake. Okay. And then the other way it can go is that they don't exhibit any type of kindness and they can be very standoffish, very much, I don't like people. I don't want to talk, very much that energy. And it might be because they're in their own head. I don't take it personally, but that's how my initial encounters with Pisces have been. I would say the Pisces woman, their energy is definitely flowing like water. It's just, you never really know with them. I just feel like you just don't know with them. And that's what kind of leaves me stuck. I don't know with Pisces women, really. You never know the side of them you're going to get. Pisces men, though, I find to be men who want to have their cake and eat it too. They are men who I've witnessed to not be the most loyal. And I thought it was funny how they touched on those escapist behaviors, because I feel like they get themselves into situations or relationships that they really don't want to be a part of, and they don't know how to escape it, but they're like screaming to escape from it on the inside. So yeah, it's just really weird. I'm just not a fan of Pisces. This can very well change. Okay. But my dynamics with Pisces have not been the best. Okay. Next, Capricorns. Okay. Now we're going back into earth signs. When am I going to get to the fire signs? It's like this cup is working against the fire signs, and I don't like that. Anyways, Capricorns. I have had some really, really close relationships with Capricorns. Me and Capricorns can get together for a good time, but not a long time. Okay. Capricorns were always my good time friends and nothing more. Unfortunately, I've only experienced Capricorns who were selfish and disloyal and opportunists. I feel like Capricorns have a very I'm putting myself first mindset, which, yes, please do, but also do that without hurting others in the process. From personal experience, I would see, a Capricorn, if an opportunity or a person presents itself to a Capricorn that sounds just right, even if it's temporary, even if it's just for the moment, they'll take it simply just for the instant gratification. I do believe there are Capricorns out there who value loyalty the way I do, because like I said, I have a phenomenal time with Capricorns. It's just there's a gap when it comes to the loyalty aspect of friendships and relationships. Capricorns are also known for being the workaholic of the zodiac, which I feel is more of the older generation Capricorns, really. Younger generations like millennials and Gen Z may have an ambitious spirit, but not going to work ourselves to death. We just don't really believe in that. Professionally, I can say that Capricorns and we bump heads a lot because we're both headstrong, very much natural born leaders. And that's all right. It's just, it happens. But we are bold. We have strong opinions, and we are very much, this is how it needs to be. We are very much, I'm putting my foot down about this. And yeah, but personally, well, honestly and professionally, it's just a lot of disconnect. But I don't think that there will be disconnect with my dynamic with Capricorns forever. I do believe that these dynamics can be better and they can grow and they can be the best of the best. So I'm actually looking forward to that, because I do miss Capricorns on a fun level, but they just, and I know that when it comes to friendships and just people in general, you're not going to have a person who can do really everything for you. You might have to go to different people for different things. And I can say that Capricorns were my good time friends. Like, they were just good times. So maybe that's, but no, because even if you are a good time friend, I don't want you to be disloyal to me. Yeah. Okay, so the next sign I have here is Taurus, another earth sign. I have not touched one fire sign yet, but that's all right. I mean, I get it. The best for last, okay? The best for last. So Taurus. I don't really know many Taurus, so I don't really have much to say. I can say that the few Taurus I know are like in very long-term, solid relationships. Every Taurus I know is in a relationship. Yeah, that's all I've got. I feel like out of 8 billion people, it's probably like 9 Tauruses in the world. I just don't know many. I know that they're known for being stubborn, they're the bull. Wow, I have not much to say about Taurus. I get along with them until they don't really get their way. And then they're like a little distant. But yeah, I don't know. I know Taurus men can be pretty strong. Yeah. I don't know many Taurus. I feel like they do very well at not being in drama, not always being on the scene. They're very just reserved, well-balanced people. I think they are just to themselves. I think they are, they don't do too much, and that's nothing bad. All right, next sign. Sorry, Taurus. As a Leo, I just haven't encountered many of you guys. Sorry, Taurus. If you were expecting more, we'll see. Like I said, if I want to do this episode again in the next year or couple of years, if anything changes. But right now, I don't know a lot of Taurus. Sorry. Okay, Gemini. I can do Gemini now. People despise Geminis, okay? They get so much hate. People say they have two sides and yada, yada, yada. I, though, love Geminis. I Love Geminis. Okay. Geminis tend to be very outgoing, very friendly people, well-rounded, optimistic individuals. They are very much people. I love Geminis. Okay. Geminis are also very well dressed. Okay. I must say that Geminis are probably the best dressed air sign. But I really feel like Libras and Geminis are neck and neck with this one, because the thing is, Libras have very well-dressed women, but Geminis have very well-dressed women and men. So I'm going to have to give it to Geminis on this one. Yeah, Geminis are the best dressed. Geminis also smell delightful. Every Gemini I know, in addition to them dressing very well, they smell very well. Okay? They smell so good. One thing about it, though, you have to be careful with the friendliness of Gemini, specifically talking about Gemini men. Gemini men can be very charming. Okay. They can reel you in real quick. All right. And actually, while I'm speaking about Gemini men, this came to my mind. While Gemini men are very charming, they don't really have the best aftercare. Okay. Let me be specific. They don't really have the best sexual aftercare. And if you're not sure what sexual aftercare is, it's pretty much how much you support your partner or how much your partner supports you after intercourse. So this could be through cuddling, talking, watching a show, just ensuring your partner feels safe and comfortable and attended to. They're not the best with that. Actually, no. Okay. I would argue that all air signs lack in this area. Libras, Geminis, Aquarius. From personal experience and from what I've heard from others. Okay, I'm trying not to tell too much of myself here. But it's almost like all air signs have this sense of detachment to them. I will say another downside to Gemini is Gemini women can sometimes be mean girls. Yes. Gemini men can sometimes be mean boys. Okay. Now, did you have a high school bully? Was he or she a Gemini? I'm not surprised. Not surprised. Okay. Not surprised. I think that might be the two sides that people may refer to. Sometimes nice, sometimes mean. But in general, a lot of the Geminis I know are really cool people. But I do know a handful of them that, but I can say I really do like Geminis for the most part. Okay, so I really think that I have touched on every sign that's not a fire sign just yet, because I literally just pulled out Scorpio. And I get it. Like I said, save the best for last. If that's how the universe just works right now, I'm not against it. But it's just so crazy because I have yet. Geez. Oh my God. This is insane. But Scorpios, where do I even start? I think that many people associate Scorpios with being intense. And yes, Scorpios indeed are intense with their passions and the people that they care about. A lot of their intense energy, though, I can see how it can come off as very aggressive or possessive. And I can also see where that steers people away from just interacting and being involved with Scorpios, period. Scorpios and Leos, I feel, have very intense energy. Yeah, I really do feel like I can handle Scorpios. I get along with them pretty well. Scorpios articulate themselves very well. They are just very bold individuals. They have very strong opinions, very much like the Leo. They're just a water sign. I was just thinking about how I used to talk to this Scorpio guy who would literally always start arguments with me for no reason. He was just always mad. He always started these arguments with me for no reason. And he would always throw out there like, you're doing this just like everyone else does. And you're treating me like everyone else. And I'm just like, stop it. Stop it. I had to block him because I couldn't deal with that. And it's one thing to be intensely passionate, but when you're like intense to the point where it's borderline crazy, I'm running away. I'm not dealing with that. I had to block him. He was just always playing the victim and I couldn't deal with that. Like, no, I do think Like I said, I can handle Scorpios for sure, but when I don't want to deal with something, I'm not going to deal with it. Scorpio women I get along with. Scorpio men I can get along with when they're not tripping. So it's just one of those things. Okay, next, let's hope for some fire signs. All right. Leos. Now, I've debated on if I should even talk about this sign because it's my sign. But as a Leo, that doesn't mean that I don't have encounters and experiences with other Leos, right? So I felt like I should still talk about the best sign out there. Ruled by the sun, I must say, okay? So I'm going to do my best to not be biased since this is my sign. And I truly believe that each Leo is different. And I truly believe July Leos are different from August Leos, and that Leo women are completely different from Leo men, okay? So a lot of us know that Leos are known for being the center of attention, talkative, loud, loyal, creative, a lot more. Let's start with July Leos. July Leos, from my experience, are a lot more sensitive than August Leos. And I really do believe that's because they're on the cusp of that like Cancer energy. If they're like July 23rd, 24th, they're going to be a little bit more sensitive. August Leos are a bit less sensitive and are more of just, I said what I said kind of energy. I said what I said type of people. Now, Leo men, they're like my best friends. We get along so well until we don't. But what I love about Leo men is how spontaneous they are, the laughs we share, the fun that we have. Leo men can just be fun to be around, and I feel an instant comfort with them. However, I've learned from experience that Leo men and I do not work well romantically, and that we must only remain friends, okay? I find Leo men to be one of the most unfaithful and disloyal signs of the zodiac. And I know I'm speaking on Leo men at the moment, but generally speaking, I would argue that Leos are one of the most insecure signs. And I think we display our insecurities in many different ways. But I think for Leo men, they display it through cheating. And I know that we are so known for exuding so much confidence, but that can be a mask as well, especially with Leo men. And it's insane to me because Leo women, we don't play about loyalty. I don't even know how many times I've said loyalty in this episode. I carry a deep sense of loyalty in each friendship and relationship. But Leo men, they don't care. Like I said initially, it's really hard to not be biased. So I'm going to start wrapping up Leo right now. Okay. It's just every Leo I've encountered is extremely different from one another. And I also think that it depends on what a Leo's moon sign may be, which determines who they really are. Because, you know, they say your moon sign is who you really are. So I think on the outside looking in, though, people view Leos as arrogant, egotistic, just people. But generally speaking, I believe Leos have extremely kind hearts, lots of creative pursuits that involve self-expression like arts, fashion, things like that. I feel like we like to use our voice a lot. We talk a lot. We have very strong opinions, just very bold. It's so funny to me as well because while people always think that Leos want the spotlight, and sure, you know, in certain cases, most definitely, it's not a challenge for us to share it. I think Leos are really good at sharing the spotlight. I think Leos are really good at pouring into others, especially those that they care about. And I think Leos are just overall really good at speaking life into others. While people view Leos to be selfish, we can also be very, very selfless. Aquarius. What a great way to follow through because my moon sign is in Aquarius and that's my sister's sign. So let's get into Aquarius. I am so sorry, guys. Let me actually provide you all with the definition of what sister signs are because I've used that a few times in this episode without telling you all what that actually means. This is what happens when you just start podcasting. You come back after a long break and there's really no drafting, no planning for the episode. So anyways, let me give you guys a definition of what sister signs are. So, from just a general search in Google, this AI overview came up and it says, in astrology, sister signs are zodiac signs that are exactly opposite of one another on the zodiac wheel, 180 degrees apart. They are also known as polar opposites or polarities. Sister signs share a modality, whether that be cardinal, fixed, or mutable, and congenial elements. They are said to have a complementary dynamic that balances each other's energies. Some say that learning more about your sister sign can help you find more balance in yourself. Others say that exploring sister signs can reveal unique dynamics between zodiac pairs, which can aid in personal growth and relationship understanding. When I was first being introduced to sister signs, I was actually just informed that it's whatever sign that is approximately 6 months apart from your birth month. So if I look at a February Aquarius, 6 months from February is August, which is my birth month. I know now that it's a lot more to it and it's a lot more depth to it. So it's really interesting to look into this. See, this episode is helping me learn so much more. So much more. The Aquarius slander was so real until about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I've learned to like them, okay? Aquarius are known for being reserved, humble, creative, independent, highly intellectual beings. And yeah, I just think that when I think of Aquarius, I truly think of copy paste. I feel like they are all the same. Each Aquarius I met or I know, they are really quiet, sometimes shy, very detached. It's like they are the definition of nonchalant, but that doesn't mean that certain things don't affect them. They just don't show it. I will say that the way you know if an Aquarius cares about you, they will show it through their actions versus words. They don't say much. They are just acts of service type of people. So don't expect many words from an Aquarius, okay? Like, do not expect that. If you constantly seek validation or words of affirmation, go anywhere else but to an Aquarius, okay? Aquarius are also very selective with who they give their energy to and their attention to and who they keep in their circle. Large crowds and social settings aren't really their thing. They are very much homebodies. Every single Aquarius I know is a homebody. And when they do go out and when they do exert a lot of energy, they go into hiding. So it's very common for you to not hear from an Aquarius for a while. Expect them to deactivate their social media channels and come back when they just feel revived, right? So also, if you seek someone who is spontaneous and enjoys like fun random outings and things like that, go anywhere else but to an Aquarius. I swear, go anywhere else but to an Aquarius, okay? While I have a talkative side as a Leo sun, I also have a quiet side as an Aquarius moon. And I like people who let me be quiet without questioning it or without feeling like every moment needs to be filled with words. And that's something that I love about Aquarius and I, is that we share comforting silences. We share comforting silences. They also say Aquarius are very creative, and I feel like it's very much hidden. And I've always said that Aquarius have a lot to offer to the world. They have a lot to show, but they hide it in. A lot of them are shy. A lot of them are nervous, things like that. But I do feel like they have talents that are just hidden, that they just haven't shared with the world just yet. So I really do hope that a lot more Aquarius start to discover the talents, the creative side of them, all of that, and see how much that is worth and how valuable that is and how much it needs to be shared with people. And I understand that they're just reserved. They're just reserved beings and they don't like opening up too much and like being put in uncomfortable situations. But I do feel like if they started to show more of what they keep hidden, the art, their thought processes, their passions, like it would just be so good for the world. Like, we need y'all, Aquarius. Come on out, front and center, okay? I also find that because I am a big personality around Aquarius because they are typically more quiet, more reserved. I speak a lot of life into Aquarius. I'm like, you need to start doing this. You need to start doing that. No, let's get you doing this. No, you're coming outside with me today. Like, no, we're doing this. Like, no, we're doing that. And sometimes they're with it. Sometimes they're not. So, but yeah, I would say that I like Aquarius. Aquarius and I can work. We can work. As my sister sign and as my moon sign, we could work. All right. So next, Sagittarius. Interesting. I don't think I have a lot to say about Sagittarius, really. I've experienced a handful of Sagittarius in my life. And what I can say is Sagittarius are very determined, very hardworking people. Sagittarius are extremely smart, like very smart. I know a lot of Sagittarius to get really good grades. They further their education, and sometimes they take on leadership roles. Sagittarius are also really great listeners, really great gift givers. And yeah, I just know Sagittarius to be very independent, very adventurous, theatrical people. And I would say that I have fun with Sagittariuses as well. Is it Sagittariuses or is it just Sagittarius? Plural. I'm just going to say Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius are a mutable sign, right? Which explains why they adapt so easily to change. If I could say that there was one sign that is easily adaptable, is definitely Sagittarius. They embrace change and they are very solution oriented. And this is what I could say I like the most about them. Plan or no plan, they're ready because they have like an optimistic outlook on change. The downside to Sagittarius, though, I've just known Sagittarius to be in drama a lot. And again, this is just from my experiences and observations with this sign. I don't know. I don't really take the time to figure them out, but it's just something that I've noticed. So, all right. Last but not least, Aries. And it's so crazy because I feel like I have the most to say about Aries. I've had a lot of friendships and encounters and interactions with Aries. So I'm ready to wrap this episode up very strong. Okay. Let's do this. Now, I'm very familiar specifically with Aries women. I don't know too many Aries men, but I do know Aries men to be very much head down, humble, chill people. You know, they can be a little snarky, but pretty chill for the most part. I would definitely say that March and April Aries are different from one another. Aries are known for being super impulsive, but I would say that April Aries are a lot more impulsive than March Aries. Aries tend to be really great cooks. They're extremely logical thinkers. They see things very much black and white. Great for fun, great for getting you out of the house and getting you out of your comfort zone. Aries also give pretty good advice. They give you good advice, but after they've completely made the situation or the conversation about themselves first, okay? And I understand that they're trying to display relatability, but the combos are typically 90% them and how they can relate, and then 10% advice. But, you know, when you're conversing with them, you just have to hang in there. The advice will come around eventually, okay? They indeed do talk a lot. I think they talk a lot more than Leos. Aries are extreme yappers. Sometimes they're listening to you. Sometimes they're not. They're always on the phone. Always. Aries are also very picky with everything, really. Food, style, a lot. In my opinion, this sign is probably the most hard to please. Like, they are very hard to please. Aries are the type of people to give waiters and cashiers a really hard time because of how they prefer certain things. And of course, you know, get what you need when you're spending your hard-earned money. But their requests and preferences are just out of this world almost. Like, they just know how to give people a hard time. And I mean, yes, you know, don't settle, but like, find a middle ground, you know? Find that middle ground. Now, Aries are very hard-shelled people, okay? You don't see them break often, and when you do, it's just really shocking because it's almost like you just don't know what to do in that moment, because how do you comfort them when you're so used to not seeing them like that? Aries have an intense energy to them. If they're mad, the whole room will feel it. Like their madness fills the entire room. Every individual in that room will feel that madness stemming from the Aries. Okay. They will hold a grudge for decades. Okay. They will hold a grudge. They don't play games. They just know how to take up space. Okay. Now, the downside to Aries, in my opinion, is that they don't self-reflect. Aries are always on the go, always staying busy. And even when they're physically still, they need to keep their mind distracted somehow through some sort of entertainment, social media consumption. Well, I would say social media consumption is entertainment, but they will find something to do. It's really hard for them to be still. Now, if your thoughts are always negative, you're doing a lot of ruminating, I get it. But what I always want for Aries, because I'm always so close to them, what I always want for Aries is to identify and sit with their feelings and emotions and take the time to actually process them. I just want Aries to tap a little more into themselves and understand the importance of slowing down. I think it's so crucial. Another thing I would argue is that Aries are a lot more self-centered than Leos. Yeah. Yeah. I would say that they are a lot more self-centered than Leos. Okay. I feel like Aries can be very full of themselves. And you know what? That's fine. But it's something that I've noticed, right? Also, with Aries talking a lot, Aries like to be right all the time. All the time. They are typically always speaking on politics or science or history or the way of the world, right? And a lot of times their outlook is very, very pessimistic, especially with the older generation of Aries. So, for example, I work with an April Aries that is a part of Gen X, right? And she's always talking about like the way of the world. She's talking about the government, things like that. And a lot of her commentary is super negative. She's always saying things like, yeah, it's never just going to get better. It's never going to get better. Things are going downhill from here and there's no looking up. There's no way. She's always saying these negative things. And as a Gen Z, I don't want to hear that because I feel like my generation already feels hopeless in many areas and like we're suffocating in many areas and that we sometimes feel like we can never reach a point of maintaining in certain areas. I don't want to hear that. And I'll never forget, there was a part in the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I feel like there was a part in this book. I don't have it right beside me, but he talks about people having their own poison, kind of like their own misery in a way. And he says something about, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't even know if this is right or if I just made this up in my head, but I feel like he says something along the lines of, even when you're agreeing with people about certain things, like you're taking on their poison. I'm not going to agree with things aren't going to get better. I'm not going to agree with, oh, it's only going to go downhill from here. I'm not going to agree with that. And I feel like in the workplace, you're always just trying to keep the vibes good. You're always just trying to be like, yeah, like, no, totally agree. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, totally. 100%. No, I sit back, I listen and I say, I hear you. And that's it. Anyways, like I said, they like to be right all the time. And I never go back and forth with them on anything because truthfully, I don't have the energy. I just really don't got it in me. I really don't. Overall, though, I can absolutely be very close with Aries. You know, I have great relationships and great friendships with Aries. But this sign, I will need breaks from quite often. Good people, kind hearts. Okay. But the energy can be a lot. And I love them. I need a break sometimes. Okay. All right. That is all for me. That is pretty much all of my detailed opinions on every zodiac sign there is, how my interactions and encounters and relationships and friendships have went with each of the 12 zodiac signs. It was very fun doing this. I'm going to have to come back and do this again. Like I said, I'm very interested in seeing if my opinions have changed. And yeah, I would just love to do this again. If I could rate the signs best to worst, I would say by element, fire first, best, of course, air, earth, then water. If I had to go through each element and rate each sign best to worst, it would definitely be for fire signs, Leo, Aries, Sag. For air signs, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. For earth, it would be oh my gosh, I don't know. For earth, it would be okay, earth, I would say Taurus, because I just don't know too many of them. Taurus. I'm going to go Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Yeah. And then water will be Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces. Yeah. I just love astrology. I'm ready to learn more about it. I'm going to have to start getting some astrology books. They're always in Barnes & Noble. I need to take myself there and get some. Very, very fun. Like I said, I would definitely have to do this again. I'm just really interested in seeing how my thoughts have changed on each zodiac sign. So we shall see. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. As always, it is always appreciated. Make sure you guys follow, listen, and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And also be sure to follow the podcast Instagram at Thread of Thoughts Pod. And we'll talk soon. Bye.